Hello, friends. Today we're heading to the very heart of the planet, to the peaks where the air is thin and the views are breathtaking. These are the 14 8,000ers, the only mountains over 8,000 meters, scattered across the Himalayas and the Karakoram. Each one is a legend, conquered by daredevils such as Edmund Hillary, Reinhold Messner, and modern-day mountaineers. We'll look at them in turn, their height, first ascents, dangers, and secrets. Ready for the expedition? Let's go.
Everest 8,848 meters, Himalayas, Nepal, China. Let's start with the King Jomolungma, or Everest, 8,848 meters. First ascent in 1953, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. Every year, 4 to 5 people die here due to avalanches. The death zone above 8,000 meters and queues at the summit, but the views of the Tibetan Plateau are unforgettable. Everest has become the most popular destination for commercial expeditions. Hundreds of people climb it every year. There is a downside to this popularity. In spring, during the peak season, real traffic jams form on the slopes. The mortality rate here is around 5%, relatively low for an 8,000er. But in absolute terms, Everest leads the way. Over 300 people have died on its slopes.
Kogori, K2 8,611 meters. K2, or Kogori, is the world's second highest peak and arguably the most dangerous of them all. The mountain was given the name K to Karakoram II during the first topographical surveys of the region. The peak has a reputation as a killer mountain because for every 3 to 4 successful ascents, there is one death. And it is no surprise. The slopes here are extremely steep, sudden storms occur, and the technical difficulty of the routes is off the charts. The pre-summit couloir, known as the bottleneck, is considered one of the most dangerous places in high-altitude mountaineering. Until 2021, K2 remained the only 8,000er not to have been conquered in winter. Kanchenjunga 8,586 meters. Kanchenjunga ranks third among the world's 14 8,000ers. The name translates as 5 treasures of the Great Snows for the people of Nepal, India, and Tibet. The mountain is sacred. Locals believe that deities dwell on the summit. Climbers who have completed the ascent traditionally stop a few meters short of the true summit out of respect for religious traditions. There is a grim legend that Kanchenjunga is the embodiment of a female deity who kills all women who attempt to climb it. For many years, attempts by female climbers to reach the summit ended in tragedy. In 1998, the British climber Jeanette Harrison managed to reach the summit safely, but a year later she died on another mountain. Whether it is superstition or coincidence, the climb is indeed extremely dangerous due to frequent avalanche, changeable weather, and technically difficult routes. Lhotse 8,516 meters. Lhotse South Peak is the 4th highest mountain on the planet. It is situated in close proximity to Everest, to which it is connected via the South Col. Thanks to this proximity, many climbers tackle the Everest Lhotse double in a single season or even over the course of a few days. In 2023, the Nepalese climber Nirmala Purja climbed both peaks in a single day. The main route partly follows the Everest route up to an altitude of around 7,900 meters. This makes the mountain relatively accessible. However, the south face of Lhotse is the steepest in the world, making the ascent a real challenge for extreme sports enthusiasts. The fatality rate on Lhotse is around 2 to 3%, making this mountain one of the safest among the 8,000ers. Makalu 8,485 meters. Makalu is the 5th highest peak over 8,000 meters. Located just 19 kilometers from Everest, Makalu is one of the most difficult 8,000ers to climb, with fewer than 30% of expeditions reaching the summit. The Himalayas are renowned for their steep gradients and rapidly changing peaks. It is believed that the name derives from the Sanskrit Mahakala, the Great Black One. The mountain has the shape of a regular tetrahedron with exceptionally steep slopes, making it technically more challenging than neighboring Everest and Lhotse. All routes require serious skills and good physical fitness. Makalu is renowned for its harsh weather and frequent storms. Despite its proximity to the popular Everest, it is visited much less frequently. There are no commercial crowds here, which attracts truly passionate mountaineers. Chooi 8,188 meters. Chooi Turquoise Goddess is considered one of the most accessible 8,000ers. The standard route from the northwest is relatively straightforward, making the mountain a popular choice for a first major climb. Many use Cho'oyo as a training ground before tackling more challenging peaks or as a logical starting point for the 7 Summits program. After Everest, it is one of the most visited mountains. However, any 8,000er is a serious challenge. Altitude sickness, bitter cold, and unpredictable weather remain a real threat. Cho'oyo is considered one of the safest 8,000ers in the world. The mortality rate here is one of the lowest among peaks over 8,000 meters. The ratio of deaths to successful ascents is around 1.5 in total. More than 50 deaths have been recorded on the mountain, which, given the popularity and relative ease of the routes, is considered a low figure. As of 2012, there had been over 3,100 successful ascents of Cho'oyo. Of all the 8,000-meter peaks, only Everest had been climbed more often, over 5,600 times. The ratio of total climber deaths to successful ascents is around 1.5%, making Cho'oyo the safest 8,000-meter peak in the world by this measure. 1964, 2 members of a German expedition died of exhaustion at Camphor at an altitude of 7,600 meters. A couple of examples of those who died on the mountain. 1959, 2 female climbers, Claude Kogan from France and Claudine van der Straten from Belgium, and 2 Sherpas, Andy Norbu and Chirwan, died in an avalanche that buried Camphor during an unsuccessful international women's expedition. 1958, during the ascent by the Indian expedition, the Sherpa Puzong Dol Lama reached the summit for the 2nd time and died on the mountain. Dhaulagiri is the world's 7th highest 8,000er, located in the Himalayas. It is considered one of the most challenging mountains to climb in Nepal. It is often referred to as the man-eater. Expeditions to Dhaulagiri frequently end in tragedy. To reach the summit, climbers must scale sheer slopes, cross dangerous passes and glacial descents, and survive in extremely low temperatures and stormy winds. The mountain has claimed many lives, yet every year new expeditions set out for its summit. Why is Dhaulagiri known as the man-eater? Dhaulagiri ranks among the 10 deadliest mountains in the world. Extreme altitude, treacherous terrain, frequent rockfalls and avalanche, and sudden snowstorms. All this makes climbing the White Mountain extremely dangerous, the most inaccessible mountain. It is regarded as one of the most challenging of the 8,000ers. Dozens of climbers have died during ascents, and the bodies of many of them could not be found. They lie buried under the snow on the mountain. The mortality rate during ascents reaches 16%. People are killed by powerful avalanches and constant snowfalls. They climbed in a rope team, which is a mandatory requirement for ascents on difficult terrain. On the one hand, it is an important safety measure, as if one person falls, their partner can stop the fall. On the other hand, it poses an additional risk. It was precisely the rope team that proved fatal for the Russian climbers. One of them fell into the abyss. The rope bindings proved fatal for the men. One after another, they fell. Their bodies were found at an altitude of 7.1 kilometers. It is believed they fell from a height of 7.6 kilometers. Why do mountaineers die? 3 main reasons can be identified. 1. Inadequate preparation, excessive risk-taking and bad luck. Most deaths in the mountains are caused by avalanches and falls. 2. Altitude sickness. Sometimes it leads directly to brain or lung edema and death. 3. And sometimes it simply weakens the climber to such an extent that they lose control, fall from a height and die. The dead remain in the mountains forever. Manaslu 8,163 meters. Manaslu is the 8th highest peak in the world. The name derives from the Sanskrit word manas, meaning mountain of the spirit or soul. Local people regard the peak as sacred and perform rituals before every ascent. In Nepal, a mountainous country, there are many peaks that attract mountaineers. It is home to a significant part of the world's highest mountain range, the Himalayas. We will look at one of the most formidable and largest peaks, Manaslu. It is considered one of the most difficult to conquer, even with professional support. Reaching the highest point of Manaslu is extremely difficult. The origin of the mountain's name. Manaslu has an alternative name, Kutan. The original name, however, derives from a Sanskrit word associated with the soul. Why is Manaslu known as the Killer Mountain? Although this peak is less technically demanding than Everest and has seen fewer ascents, it has claimed many lives. Manaslu, the 8th highest mountain in the world, is known as the Killer Mountain due to its dangerous reputation. 89 people have lost their lives there. It is Nepal's second most popular peak after Everest, with a 60% success rate. Mount Manaslu is situated above the forests of the Bhuti Gandaki Valley in Nepal, with a fatality rate of around 9 deaths per 100 successful ascents. Manaslu is one of the most dangerous mountains to climb. Masalu is known as the Killer Mountain due to its high mortality rate and the numerous risks faced by climbers, including avalanche, crevasses, and harsh weather conditions, which have contributed to its deadly reputation. Mount Manaslu is widely known for its steep slopes and avalanche, although most of these occur on Manaslu Sarak, a high-risk slope. In addition to technical challenges and harsh weather, climbers face other risks throughout the ascent. This peak is another 8,000-meter mountain, which is technically less demanding than the world's highest peak. Therefore, many attempt to climb it after Everest. Due to the rugged terrain, changeable weather, and the technical challenges of the climb, even experienced mountaineers face difficulties when ascending Manaslu. Steep slopes, crevasses, avalanche, exposed sections, and high altitude, all these factors make Manaslu a formidable challenge for climbers. All the disasters that have occurred on this mountain serve as a reminder that the mountain does not forgive mistakes. During all attempts to climb Manaslu, around 19 people have lost their lives. There is a high risk of avalanche, which have been the main cause of fatalities. Conquering Manaslu is a difficult task, so proper preparation is essential. If you manage to get even close to the summit, you can be confident that the other 8,000ers will also be within your reach. That's all for today. More to follow in the next video. For now, here are these 8,000ers from Everest, the king of the Himalayas, to the impregnable Kangchenjunga. These peaks are not just rocks. They symbolize overcoming challenges, where man battles against nature and himself. Only 20 people have conquered all 14 without oxygen, like the legendary Messer. If you're a fan of the mountains, give this a like, subscribe, and write in the comments which peak appeals to you most.